Hello there, my name is Bruce Rain from Brankers Creations. I was just getting down to my own intro music there. That's awesome. Thank you to everyone for joining today. It is Saturday morning here, and it's a beautiful sunny day, which is nice. I'm starting a little bit earlier today because I'm up. Now, I do need to just check with people, how is my audio? A very interesting thing was brought to my attention recently. Oh, a little bit. This one? Yeah. An interesting thing was brought to my attention recently, and that was that ever since I have got this M1 Mini, my audio has been quieter. And I tried to look into this, and it has been quieter since I've gone to the Mini, and I have no idea why. Same hardware, same settings, all that sort of stuff. So what I've done, I have changed things up a little bit. So I've got some equipment actually coming, which I've ordered a proper live streamers kind of mixing desk type thing, which will arrive late next week, which we'll be trying out next weekend. And it will allow me to put all my audio stuff in there and have a lot more control with gain and EQ and all that sort of stuff. One thing that I do get a little bit frustrated about with this software that I use, which is called Ecamm Live, it doesn't give you much control over audio. It gives you some volume control, but even that's quite limited. But it doesn't give you like things like EQ or compressor, limiter, that sort of stuff. I'm going to be pushing to see if they can add at least a compressor limiter into the audio controls for this. But anyhow, look, yeah, I do have the ability to make it louder if it needs to be louder, but I don't want to blow people's brains out. So I just want to compare it, and then of course I will compare this recording with last recording and just see how the audio compares. But at this stage, just looking at the levels, they're not looking too bad. So I have to do my normal thing here. Not because I have to, but because I want to, and say hello to everyone. So I'm going to just make my way down the list here. I'm going to say hello to Mystery Margot, hello to Enzo Fitzhume, Thomas Armstrong, hello, Luke F, Jack68K, Apples Anonymous, Patrick Pitts, Steve from Mac84 is here. Hello there, Steve. He did a stream earlier today. I missed it because he is against Australians watching, so he decided to live stream at like 3 in the morning for us. So Jason Cogburn, yeah, I think I got my way through everyone there. Let me know if I missed anyone. But Max is there. Hello, Max. I had a question for you, Max. Oh, that's right. I spoke to someone recently who had a mirror drive door G4 that he was looking to get rid of. I don't need any more. I've got so many of them. But I thought there might have been something you might be interested in. He's Hornsby. Get everyone up to date on a couple of things here. I've been working on this SE30, which of course I've done many live streams on, and I'm starting to lose a little bit of steam. Being so close to the finish line is very frustrating, but because it goes forwards and backwards. So with this, I've been able to get it to boot to a floppy, and I can boot into System 6. I can use the standard ROM, but it fails a RAM test. SCSI doesn't work. Real-time clock doesn't work. Lots of things don't work. So lots of things do work, I should point out. Then I gave it an ultrasonic clean, and when I got it out, it didn't work again. So I had lost another one of the address lines. I sorted that out. And then I got it working again, and now it's sort of not working again. It's just giving me SEMA, CMAC, and SAD MAC chimes. So I'm not even getting to the point that I was before now. The other day, I actually went and pinged out with a multimeter every single pin of the glue chip, going to every single place that it needs to go to. If I can find the little piece of paper with tiny weeny little writing, I'll show you. I created a matrix. Of, there are all the pins. The only ones I didn't do were the address lines because I'd already done the address lines. All the pins of the glue chip there, and then all the other components that it goes to and what pins it goes to those. So I was able to work my way down the list. Ping, 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 and check out to see that we're getting continuity, and we did. The glue chip is connected everywhere it's supposed to be connected. So had a couple of moments there, edge of the seat type moments, where I actually just realised that the multimeter had switched off. Switch it back on again. Yeah, that's kind of where I am with it at the moment. Have we got turbo speed? Hello there. So anyhow, that's where I am with this. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm giving up on it. I will probably come back to it and do some more work. I've got all this 1 MB RAM here, and I'm not even sure if it's all good. So I need to first of all find 4 SIMs that I know are good that work in another SE30, and then make sure I'm testing with known good 1 MB SIMs. Jared Burma, hello there. I don't really need to get this working. Through circumstances, it's just how it goes, I have now got 3 Macintosh SE30s. I really don't need 3 SE30s. I may end up selling one. I kind of like having 3 SE30s, but I don't need 3 SE30s. And I kind of had the idea that I was going to get this one, fix this one up, and then put this into an SE case. So I would have an SE that was a bit of a sleeper. You know, it's like, that's just an SE. No, it's not. Jeremy Bolanos, hello. Yeah, that's kind of where I am with this at the moment. I might put it aside just for a little while because it has been occupying too much of my time. But you know, I do, as I say, it would be lovely to get this fixed up. I mean, I've fixed up so many SE30s over the years. I would love to be able to do this one just to prove it to myself more than anything. Okay, just a reminder that I recently released a video, a review, of a 3D printer and a thing called a sonic pad, which is like an external driver for the printer, so that you can end up getting that little external thing to do most of the calculations in the 3D printing, and the printing goes a lot faster. So if you are a 3D printing person, please check that out. It was the Ender 5 S1 and the Creality sonic pad, and there are links in that description of where you can get discounts on that bundle if you want it. But I can't recommend it enough. I mean, I have got that now set up. I've been printing like crazy on it. It's fantastic, and I am now, consider me a clipper convert. So if you're a 3D printer and you know what I'm talking about, you've basically got firmware for printers, and the most common one is Marlin, and then there are plenty of other ones coming out these days as well. But Clipper is one of those firmware updates, and I have to say, I am a Clipper convert 100%. So, Luke F, hello there. I'm not sure why I always find Snooper fails RAM tests on SE30. I've seen it with no good RAM on few machines. Anyone else seen that? That's an interesting thing. I have not encountered that myself. I can't, so therefore can't really explain it. But I do know that the SE30 can be very, very prickly with RAM. I'm gonna try that out actually. I've got an SE30 up there I wouldn't mind checking out. So the 3 SE30s that I have, I've got the original one. This is my original SE30 here. And I have rated this with parts. I've taken parts off this for this other one to get that going just temporarily until I order the parts in. All the parts I've rated are ones that you can still buy. It's just I've got to go and order them, and I just haven't got around to doing that. So I've taken off, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 components from this. So it's not too bad. It's not like I've, completely totally stripped it, but this would not work anymore. If I just get sick of that, I'll just put them back. So this is the original one. This is the very first SE30 that I got. This is my very first recapping attempt. I have since fixed it up because the first time I did a shit job. So this is the very first one. Then I got another SE30, and then I ended up selling it because I'm like, I don't need two. And then I got another SE30, and I decided to keep it. And with that one, I did the grayscale upgrade. So this was a board that I bought from Bowl. He's the guy that has done the SE30 reloaded board, among other projects. He's created an 040 accelerator for the SE30. And one of the things about Bowl, and I did not actually realize this at the time, otherwise I don't know, I'm not sure that I can really do anything about it. But I asked him, I said, look, I want to do a video on this. Can you please can I be on the waiting list for one when you get one? So it's a replication of the Micron Exceed, but he borrowed part of the Micron Exceed. The actual graphics part is actually something different. But so Jeff Bernard, hello there. So he made this grayscale thing for the SE30, and I bought one. It was quite expensive. And someone else contacted me and said, "Oh, look, I really want one of those." And I said, "No worries, get in touch with Boll, just, you know." And he did get in touch with Boll, and apparently there aren't any left. And he's having trouble finding the components to make any more. So here's me thinking that this new grayscale thing is going to make they're going to start being everywhere, and they won't be rare and all that sort of stuff. But apparently they are going to remain rare. So I'm very, very happy to have that. And I will do a video of it eventually. But in the meantime, Sean from Action Retro, he did a video. Lots of fun, so go and check that out. That's on the little, he called it a grey cake. That was the name of the product. That's what Boll called this thing. It's called a grey cake. Another thing I'll just quickly mention before, and then I got a third SE30 just recently, and I don't know. I mean, it's got an Ethernet card in it, which is kind of cool. I don't know what I'm going to do with that one, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I might end up selling it. If I can get this other one working, I might end up selling the good one. So, another really interesting that has happened, and a big shout out to Jeff if you're watching, or if you watch this later on. He has contacted me, and he is making an incredibly generous donation to the channel. I have to pay for postage, and it's coming from the other side of the island, which is about, I don't know, 2,500 kilometres away or something like that. It's a long way away. Anyway, it's coming from Perth. He has made a donation to the channel of a Quadra 840 AV. Now, it needs some recapping, but it has inside it an FWB jackhammer SCSI card, and it has a Radius Vision, is that what it's called? I can't remember. The display card in it with the breakout box, so you can actually record video. The funny thing about this is the exact configuration of the 840 AV that I used to use back in the day when I used to work in a studio. We had the Video Vision, or whatever it's called, the Radius Video Vision. We had the jackhammer in it, and wouldn't it be funny if this actually happened to be the model that I had at work? But anyhow, it also has a CD-ROM in it, and it has intact bezels on the front, but I don't know if they will remain intact when they arrive from Perth, because that's a long way to go. But anyhow, wonderfully, wonderfully generous thing from Jeff. I will make more of it to do about it when it comes. I am going to do a video series on it and recapping it and talking about the 840 AV. I've always wanted an 840 AV in my collection. I'm very, very happy to be now getting one, and that's absolutely fantastic. I have 3 broken SE30s. That's something to... The great thing about broken SE30s is they can be unbroken, usually, anyhow. So, yeah, I'm really, really happy about this. I mean, look, I could be getting into a whole big mess of problems. We know the 840 AV can be very finicky, so I don't know. This may end up driving me insane, or it might be a quick fix and have an 840 AV. But the reason why I like the 840 AV so much is because it was a computer that I used to work with. So I used to work at this design studio, pre-press bureau, and we had the old 030 machines, and then we got a whole big delivery of 040 machines, and they got stolen. Someone broke into the place and stole them, and then after a while the insurance came through and we went and replaced them. And so we originally had a Quadra 800, and the 800 ended up getting stolen. But by the time the insurance all happened, the 840 AV was around, so we got an 840 AV as a replacement. And yeah, for someone like me, using an 840 AV was just an incredible experience, because for one, you could do video on it. You could bring video in and watch video on the screen. That was an amazing thing back then. These days you don't think anything of it, but back then, to see video, like recording video, like I could take something from a VCR or something like that and record it onto the computer, that was mind-blowingly amazing. Seeing video on the computer screen was just absolutely amazing. So the 840 AV was the fastest 040 I think they ever brought out, and I just loved it. It was a great computer. Problems with it though, I mean, brittle plastics on the thing, and of course, if you ever have to do a RAM upgrade on an 840AV, it's a friggin' nightmare. The design is just horrendous. You've got to unscrew the board and undo the plugs and flip it up over and put the RAM in. You've got to take all the new bus cards out, of course. So anyhow, right, I'm just going to quick chat. I've been babbling on here for a while. I'm going to just quickly check the chat here. Now I donate the 840AV to Steve. I think he's got a good one now, don't you, Steve? Don't you have a working one now? I know you've got a bad one, but you've got a good one, haven't you? I need a Macintosh portable LCD panel. Now, Steve can probably help you out with one that's got a ding in it, because we don't talk about it very much, but he did manage to drop something on an LCD screen, a portable LCD screen, and left a ding in it. Very sympathetic. But he got a replacement, I believe, so... oh, look at that. Jay is here. And Jay is trying to get me to do Arnold Schwarzenegger talk. Yes. By saying, get to the chopper. You get to the chopper. Because the other day, he played back a video of me doing an Arnold thing. Not as well as Steve does. Steve is the Arnold king. And I was like, I don't even remember doing that. And so I said, I need to start doing more of that. And so, yeah, he's egging me on. I had an 840AV, but prior to that, my Mac 2CX had a Radius Rocket card, 40 megagram, and Oreo spigot. Aren't they biscuits? Or cookies, as you guys say. And $2,000 2 gigabyte hard drive. I was doing video at 1992. That's awesome. Radius Rocket 040. One of the best things to have. One of the things that. Oh, Jay, how's my audio? Huh? How's my audio? Jay was complaining my audio was too low, so he is the one. It has to meet the House of Moth approval in order for us to know whether the audio is good enough. Okay, now video spigot. Yes. So the Radius Rocket 040, I happened to get one of those in a Mac 2 that I picked up in a bulk lot, and I was so happy about that. And so I had that loaded up with 64 megabytes of RAM, and I had that running in my Macintosh 2CI, which makes it, of course, blazingly fast. It's fun. But what I really love about it, I've mentioned this before, is because it's a 2CI, it can natively run System 6. So when you put a Radius Rocket into 2CI, you can actually run System 6 on an 040. And if you want to see speed, I am here because guarantees were made. The audio is fantastic, sir. Well, there you go. There is the guarantee. You just found it. So this is going to be more like what my audio will be moving forward. I will have more control over it. So at the moment, I've got one little volume knob here, and that's it. And even when it's cranked up, it's terrible. Yes, I remember the name Video Spigot, but I can't remember either. I know that there is one particular Radius card that I would love to get hold of. Or was it Rastrops? I don't know. Did it have Thunder at the beginning of its name? Anyhow, one of these cards that actually had built into it a chip that could handle JPEG decompression and compression, and it could also handle things like unsharp mask and Gaussian blur. So with this card in, and then a couple of plugins in Photoshop, it would open and save JPEGs really fast. I mean, we don't think about it at all these days. You open up a single web page, it probably launches, 25 JPEGs that just open on the screen instantaneously. Back in the olden days, if you had a JPEG file and you went to go open it, you'd go make a cup of coffee while it's opening. And same thing with saving. So, it was probably a Super Mac. So this one I'm talking about, I think it was a Super Mac, but it could have been Rastrops. But anyhow, it was awesome, and I'd love to get hold of it again, but I don't even know what it's called, so it makes it hard. So let's have a look at this computer. Quick shout out to anyone who is watching this as a replay, not watching it live. Hello to you. Please say hello in the comments. Always love to hear from people who are watching this afterwards. I know that some people, they just don't get to watch it at this time because I tend to do this at a time that suits me, suits Australians, and it suits US, and that has a lot to do with lots of my viewers being in the US. So But I do appreciate that it's a pretty lousy time to stream for a lot of people in Europe. So, so anyhow, my apologies to those people. And if you are watching this on the replay, I thank you very much. I said I was going to work on a 2CI board. Do you think I should have probably located it before I started? Where is it? I'll find it. Don't worry. Okay. Ooh, that looks... What's that? That's a 2FX. No, that's another problem. Haha, here it is. Ha 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 ha. Wow. Is this it? I think this is it. Yeah. I'll just have to check and see if I've done, because I did some trace repairs on this. And I'll just check and see if this is the one with the trace repairs. Do. Ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-dum. A couple of diodes missing from the real-time clock. Shouldn't be any issue there. Should still fire up. Okay, so here is the board. Macintosh 2CI. This is for the thumbnail that I might replace later on. I don't like the thumbnail I made. I'll go this way. So that's my thumbnail. I'm probably a bit too far that way. No, go this way. This way. There we go. That's a new thumbnail. I did the trace repair. Oh, here it is. I can see it here, just in this little region here. So we'll just have a quick look at that with a microscope. Garth Beagle, hello there. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Some SMD. I didn't get to watch Steve's live stream today because he streamed, you know, because he is he's against Australians watching his live stream, which is why he did it so early. I found my other extender. It was up there. Yeah. So anyhow, I've got two now, so that's great. I always wanted to. I'm going to replace the wires on this because these are crappy wires, and I'll make it a little bit longer like I did with the other one, but it's good to have two instead of just one. I did like that thing where you leave the CD inside the player. I left this connected to a computer that I then put away. I should actually try and find out what the story is with that computer and see if it needs repair, because it's a classic without a board in it. It's probably mine. I have lots of classics. Happy St. Jean? St. Jean? I don't know what that means. Some SMD logic, and I have given to remove them, placed in a new one, covering flux and down some solar. Well done, Sideburn Studios. You have done. Have I said hello to you, Sideburn Studios? I'm not sure I have. Hello, Sideburn Studios. Okay. Retro Techie, hello there. Retro Techie, quick question for you. How about you tell us about, what are they called? I've forgotten what those things are called. That's those computers you talk about all the time. What's that computer you talk about all the time? I can't remember the name of it. I can't remember the name of it because I just don't care enough. But I just figured if we've got here, you should at least talk about it. Naboo, that's it. That's right, the place from Star Wars. Tell us about the Naboo. Bring some joy to the chat about the Naboo. Bruce USA, hello Bruce. G'day Bruce, as we say in Australia. G'day, evening ladies and Bruces. Naboo, yep, that's it. Okay, 2CI, microscope. The camera's almost definitely not working, but let's check it. Now, what I'm armed with this time, which I did not have last time I was working on this, and I'm going to show you now, I have got a matrix of the address lines. So, these are all the address lines for the ROMs. It's probably not the problem, but we can check them anyway. So I can go through and check that these go where they're meant to go. So we're doing proper diagnostics here. Proper diagnostics. Right, now let's just check the scope view. Oh, it's working. What are the odds? What are the odds? I did a server migration yesterday. I was using, back in the olden days, I was using an old Mac Mini. It was an iMac, and then it was a Mac Mini and stuff like that. And I was using the Apple server software. For those who don't know, Apple used to have a server version of the Mac OS, going back quite a long way. And I was running a little web server just for basic stuff. And basically Apple's server software they just ended up pulling things out of it until there was virtually no point in using it. So I ended up using MAMP, but then I just was having problems with that computer. It was just being a real pain and everything. And so I just decided to go with ISP config on a Linux box using Ubuntu. I don't know if anyone here is big on servers and Linux and all that sort of stuff, but if you are someone who wants to set up a box to do websites, more than one website, I highly recommend you check out ISP config. It's free, though they do request a donation to buy the manual. And it is an incredibly powerful tool for setting up a Linux box as a web server with configurable things like SQL databases, firewall, FTP, as say multiple websites, aliases for those websites. If anyone has ever used something like cPanel, ISP config is like a free version of that, and it kicks bottom. It is absolutely fantastic. So I have ditched the Mac as that server. I'm actually running it on what I used to live stream from, which is an old 2012 Mini with 16 gigs of RAM, and I think it's a 2.6 quad-core i7, and it's cranking. It's really cranking. It's a really awesome web server, very, very fast for a web server, and of course it's using hardly any resources to run. So I'm really happy with it. So anyhow, I can't speak highly enough for this ISP config server. If you're thinking of setting up like a VPS or something like that, get a little bit of Amazon AWS, and then just plonk ISP config on it, and it just makes life so easy. I'm probably going to do that, actually. Hello, Joe Williams. I use MAMP, and when I switched to M1, their magic Apple Silicon version slowed down. Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I just, for a web server, you just don't need that much speed. I'm just running PHP, and it's like ISP config you can set up with multiple versions of PHP. So if you want to create one website that's using an old PHP 5.6, or if you want to use 7, or you want to use 8, you could just flick a switch, just flick it over. Okay, this one's using PHP 5, now we'll flick it up to using PHP 7. It's just great, and it's got Roundcube built in, so if you're setting up email accounts, you've got webmail. What else? Yeah, it's awesome. Awesome. So anyhow, that's just me. That's my other part of my job. So set that up yesterday. Super happy with it. Kind of sorry to see the end of the Mac web server, but that's Apple. They don't want to be in that market anymore. So So PHP WordPress dev with massive plugins and huge databases, slow like a slug. Yep, this is a very, very interesting point that you make. Recap a Mac, my website that I have with all the pickies and stuff on it, and it has an online store as well. I'll talk about that in a moment as well. I was running that on a VPS, and it was just going so slow. And there were lots of reasons why it was going slow. I was using WooCommerce with WordPress, and that is a real slug. It really is a slug. And I moved that onto my ISP config server, so that's now living in a server in my house. If my internet goes down, so does the website, but that's not the end of the world. If people are going to miss out on being able to see pictures of logic boards for a little while, and in truth, it doesn't go down very often anyway. And so I moved it to this, and it flies now because I've just got more resources on that computer. So, right, Mega, hello, how you? Or as we say, how's it going? All right. I feel like drinking beer, but it's only 11 o'clock, so I might have to wait a little while. Right, okay, let's have a look at this board. So I was working on this before. It doesn't work, okay, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't be doing this. It doesn't work, and I was trying out lots of different things, and then I just happened to discover while I was doing other stuff, I discovered a broken trace. That's exactly what happened last time I streamed this. It's about a month ago. I haven't been streaming as much lately because I've been doing all these review videos, which I will be doing this weekend as well. I've got two things to review at the moment. I've got this thermal camera to review, and I have got a digital microscope to review, and I'm hoping to get both of those done, or at least get the all of the main footage done this weekend. Yeah, so anyhow, I was looking around this computer, and then I just found over here, I found these busted traces, and I repaired them like a studious little person. But it does make me think we probably need to do a little bit more looking. The fact that this busted trace was just hiding there in plain sight. And then, of course, it was a very bad via. So there is a possibility that we are not making connections somewhere in the middle of the board, because this does have data layers sandwiched inside, which I hate. You get an older board that just has the data on the top and the bottom, and inside is just volt and ground. That's nice and easy, because if you have a breakdown somewhere in the middle of the board, you can just grab voltage from somewhere else. But with something like this, when you've got data in the middle, you've really got to check it out. So as you can see, I've already got some trace repair going on here, from there through into there. This one here, as bad as he looks, he's apparently okay, and we'll just double check that. Just need to get a multimeter. Now, what sort of multimeter do you reckon I should use? If I can find it. I'm good at losing things on this desk. I've got parts of things. This is a part from a what do you call those things? Those stoves that change the magnet stuff, you know, like this, like that. Induction. This is parts of an induction cooktop. That's the main part of the induction cooktop. It's like a great big electromagnet, and what it does is it changes the polarity very, very, very fast. So it basically it swaps north and south extremely quickly. Yeah, there is a busted part which I need to order in order to repair it, but in the meantime I've got bits of it everywhere. Let's get that out of the way. Here's the board. There's the board. And I've got to just check and see. Ah, look at it. Found it. Everything's falling down. There we go. I think it might be time to clean my desk. What do you think? So, just a second. Oh, I don't have any of the images. I can't show them. Never mind. Kai Wheat's KM601 digital multimeter. You will find links in the description, and I think you'll even find a discount code, because these are such a good multimeter at an incredibly low price. And look at that screen. Look at that screen. Thank you, Enzo, for that information about the KM601. Absolutely love this. And look at this. Look at this. Look, check it out. Check it out. It's even got a flashlight. Huh? You have no idea how handy that is. Right. All right, so let's get this set into beepity beep mode, like this. Bing. And it will go beep when I put the things together. Always do that. I know it sort of seems silly, but always do it. And when you get a multimeter and you're about to go in and start checking continuity of things, the very first thing you do, even if it's auto ranging and all that sort of stuff, you touch it together and make sure it's working. Because a cable can fall out, or something can be wrong with your probes or something like that, and you can be sitting there going, oh, I'm not getting continuity here. Francois, which it would be bonsoir, I think. It's probably night time there. Gut Bomb, hello. Good luck with the 2CI. Thank you. Yes, it is one of the best Macs. In fact, I say this all the time, but whenever I work on these computers, I'm always like, I want to get mine out and play with it. But that's going to be taken out of context. I just know it. I really love the 2CI. It's a great old Mac. Right, so let's just go in and check here with the scope view. And we'll just check and make sure that we have got some continuity going from this point here to there. Yes, we do. That's great. What else have we got? We've got a few of these kind of ugly looking things. Geez, I'm hungry. I've scraped this off, so I've probably already tested that. All right. Let's keep looking around here. See, look at the ugliness of that. Got continuity though, in that one. I mean, look at these ones. How bad are they, huh? Huh? I'd be worried about whether they're even making it through to the other side, to be honest. To be totally honest with you. Let's have a look at this one here. Boo. Take a leave, it's only please believe we ain't ever gonna be respectable. That's not making connection. We got another trace break for this one here. Beep, 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 beep. 3 a.m. must really sleep. Okay, well, Francois, thank you for turning up. Thank you for saying Kai Wheat. But I can totally understand that you need to sleep. I did actually mention earlier my apologeticals to people who are in a time zone that I am not streaming a friendly time in. That is a great sentence. Did anyone else hear that? We've got at least 2 busted here. This one's stuffed. I haven't even turned on the old, what do you call that thing? Soldering iron yet. Let's do that. I'm going to take this little cap off because I want to be able to clean around it. How many people have got watching at the moment? 27. Hello to 27 people. Just a reminder, of course, please, if you do have a spare moment, could you please smash that like button? I thank you. I thank you. There we go. That was it saying beep. That was it saying beep. Didn't Steve fix the exact pin on his 2CI today? Oh, was Steve working on a 2CI? I'm sorry. Am I plagiarizing his stuff? Sorry. I didn't get to watch Steve's live stream today because he streamed at a ridiculous time. Ridiculous time. Let's grab some of the stuff that's fallen down. I mean, who streams at that time? Huh? I suppose it leaves me clear to stream at this time. Perhaps I should be thanking him. A tribute. It's an homage. Right, now I'm going to take this cap off, hopefully, without using hot air. And I'll tell you why. When you hit these tant caps with hot air, they go brown. And that's just unsightly. It's pissing me off. Pin 12, same chip. Oopsie. Well, what are the chances? Maybe it's the same board. Maybe we just transported it really fast. Got it straight onto a plane as soon as this live stream finished. Oops, that's a pad. There we go. Oh well. We'll be doing that with a little bit of wire. All right, this makes it a lot easier. I can get in here and scrape. Scrape with impunity. Scrapey, scrape. See, that's got to not be making contact there either. It's terrible. Now, why do I have that song in my head? What's the go, people? Do you... Sometimes there are just some pads that just don't want to be there. We have to respect their decision. Mel and Kim, that's the name of the band. For anyone here who's old enough. Justin is here, hello there. I gave up trying to repair my battery bomb 2CI board after determining the VLSI chip closest to the battery is bad. It's distorting the oscillator signal. Well, that's unusual. That's very unusual. Can you rate it off your other 2CI that doesn't work? Well, you can't, because Jay's got it. Jay from the House of Moth has it. Geez, that doesn't look too crash hot either. Far out. No, I'm firing up the hot air for this one. One of them died of Mel and Kim. I know that's a bit of a Debbie Downer to be talking about that, but I heard one of them died, I think. And I don't think she got better. When the solder doesn't come out nice and easily from these, you pretty much know that they're fairly badly corroded. Yeah, the pad came off. It's alright. It's alright. It is an imperfect world. Pad's coming off all the time. I promise you that by the time I finish with this, you will not even notice. I should solder with my Quadra. Justin was testing out his Quadra soldering iron the other day. I've got mine somewhere. Oh, that's it there. Quadra. Good iron. Gets nice and hot. I might have to do this from the other side. I'm not having any breakthrough. But this whole area here is just an absolute shit fight. Look at it. Okay. Oh, look, things don't look too crash hot on this side either. Nay, nay. This is the Royton. Out dam solder. I can end up just sticking a wire through it while the solder's melted. I end up doing that sometimes. Because, you know, why not? I just add a little bit of solder, because solder likes hanging out with other solder. So if you add a little bit more, sometimes you get it out. Well, that is not good, Justin. That is not good at all. I do not like hearing about 2CIs that are unwell. We got him. We got him. All right, let's see if I manage to get all of them from the other side. Mel Appleby died at the age of 23 of pneumonia. That young to die of pneumonia in today's age, that's extraordinary, isn't it? There must have been other circumstances, wouldn't you think? Wouldn't you think? "23, yeah. Gosh, she must have been young when she did that song. Darn. Okay. Let's get some wire. Some wire. Ba-dip-bip-boo. See if I can feed that through. While the solder is melty. Can we see it? Can we see it? Can we see the other side? Is it there? Is it there? Can I? Anyone? Anyone? It's got to be here. Is it somewhere? There it is. I've found him. So he goes through there and back out there. Yeah, look at that. You probably can't see it because I'm seeing it right in the corner there. Let's pull this forward a little bit because we can. Of course we can. London pneumonia following treatment for Whoa. Okay, that's no good. Tumour, so it was complicated. Okay, fair enough. Yes, I thought it was cancer. That's what I had in my recollection, that she had died of cancer. But I guess cancer was the primary thing and pneumonia was the secondary thing. I'm a big fan of 80s music because of my age. I grew up with 80s music. I grew up with 80s fashion, or lack thereof. I left school in 1988. At the ripe old age of, I guess it would have been 16. Yeah, 16. I always get really frustrated when I go to if I go to a 1980s theme type party and there are young people there that didn't live through the 80s and they're playing all this 90s music, and I'm like, get it off! The wrong years. Okay. This one's probably not even busted, but it just doesn't look good. So I'm doing. I'm gonna have to obviously do something about this. This is terrible. It's just terrible. Need new wires going through there, and I mean, God, look at the there. That could be bad. So an 80s theme party would pull out your regular clothes in. Well, I probably don't anymore. I probably got rid of it. But I bought this jacket at like a thrift shop ages ago that was so 80s. And I bought it for an 80s themed party. And I thought, I've got to hang on to this because I can just pull it out at every 80s party that comes on. But no, I don't really have any of the original clothes, all the pastels and stuff. I wouldn't fit any of it. I was so thin back then. I mean, I'm the same height, but I'm so much wider than I was. One good thing about this board is we have definitely found lots of problems with it. Now, there's no guarantee that after fixing these problems it's going to suddenly work, but you can't help but feel, well, you know, I mean, maybe one of these is the source of our woes. Okay, who can figure it out quickest? Someone get onto the old Googles and tell me, what is a 74HC132M for? 7HC132, 74HC132. See what that is. See who's the quickest on Google to figure out what that is. Okay. Need to clean up a little around here. Greetings from chilly Sydney. Hey, hello, Triple J. Which part of chilly Sydney are you in? I'm in Western Sydney. I'm out Blacktown way. And, it's 16 degrees Celsius at the moment, which is colder than I would like, but not as bad as it has been. I mean, boy, we had a couple of cold mornings recently. Freeze my nuts off. I grew up on Triple J. That was the radio station that I used to listen to when I was a youngster. Not so much anymore, and it's probably because they're fairly edgy in terms of their music, and I'm not edgy anymore. I've become boring and old. I can't stand the way a lot of people are singing these days. I just don't like what they're doing with their voices. Like, ugh, yuck, stop it. Sing properly. We always talked about Triple R, Ryde Regional Radio. That's where I grew up. I grew up in Ryde. I had some beautiful Malaysian food for dinner last night. The most amazing chicken skewers. The flavour was just spectacular. Making me hungry just thinking about it. I still have some too. I have some spares, some leftovers. have that for lunch. Get the chicken skewer. Hey, how about this? Take the chicken off it, make a sandwich with it. Huh? A beautiful marriage of cultures. Malay skewers with a sandwich. Yeah. Love putting things in between two slices of bread. It's just the best ever. Did Bruce say 133, not 123? Oh, that's a good question. What did Bruce say? 74HC132. 101.7. Which one's 101.7? I don't know. I don't listen to the wireless much anymore. Chatswood area. Cool. Yeah, I go to Chatswood a fair bit. Chatswood's one of those kind of, I don't know, fairly central sort of places in that if I've got friends that are like living near the beaches or something like that, Chatswood's a nice sort of mid ground where you can meet. Lots going on at Chatswood as well. I really like Chatswood. I hate getting there. I mean, public transport's fine, but I hate getting there by car. It's just bottlenecks everywhere. Friggin' nightmare. Chatswood. Used to go there a lot when I was younger for yum cha. They used to do great yum cha in Chatswood. They probably still do, but I haven't been there for that in a while. A lot of places elsewhere you can get good yum cha these days, so you tend not to make the trip specifically for that. Logic Gates Quad 2-in-1 Schmidt-Tug. Cool. Okay, so you just came on here. It's 29C outside. That's beautiful. I would love that. Logic Gates mouse has lots of them. Yeah, Melbourne can't be good. Yeah, Melbourne. I mean, it's been bloody cold here in Sydney as well, but Melbourne, we might get the same cold mornings, but then Melbourne just doesn't heat up much during the day. All right. Good. Well, there's no shortage of work on this board. I thought I was going to be sitting here wandering around trying to find a problem, but boy, was I wrong. I'm pleased to be wrong, because I like finding things to fix. It's good. Boo, boo, boo. I'm going to cook dinner tonight, seeing as I had my exotic stuff last night. I don't know. Oh, that's right. I think my wife asked for pizza. She wants me to make pizza, so I'm going to make pizza. I'm not going to do the bases, okay? Just in case anyone's thinking, oh, you're going to do the bases. No, I'm going to be buying pre-made bases. So sue me. But I'll do the rest. I make my own tomato sauce, my own pizza sauce. That's always fun. I like doing that because I never use the same sort of ratios and stuff, so every time it's always a little bit different. 9 degrees C here though at night. Yeah. Well, I mean, God, the other morning we got up, it was 0 here. There was actually ice on the car and stuff. It's like 0 degrees. It's like, what? What? Good day to stay in bed, tells you. Go through, little wire, go through. That's better. Oopsie. Colin is here from this Does Not Compute. Hello there. I already had dinner, but now I'm hungry. Go grab some pizza. I actually haven't had breakfast. I'm starving. I'll probably just hang on till lunch at this stage, seeing as it is 11:30 a.m. I started streaming a little bit earlier today than I normally do because I just always feel like it's sort of probably better for some people to start a little bit earlier, but I know it's worse for others. But and so I thought I was going to have plenty of time, and then my computer started giving me some grief while I was making the thumbnail for this video. I started getting the little spinning beach ball, which we do not like. As Mac users, we do not like the spinning beach ball. But anyhow, got it done eventually, and here we are. A little bit off camera there, sorry about that, folks. So, just a little recap. So this is a Macintosh SE. This is the second video that I've done working on this. I managed to just break this pad earlier before out of pure carelessness. Where's the thick stuff? Just a second. It's not there. That's the really thick stuff. I need something in between. Now he's fallen down, hasn't he? I bet he's down here somewhere. If I can't find the thick stuff, I'll just have to use the thin stuff. But I would prefer to use the thick stuff because I like the thick stuff. I'm talking about wire, by the way, just to give some context. I have all these little bits of wire that I use for doing repairs. I have 3 different thicknesses, essentially. And because I use it so sparingly, I mean, the rolls just last forever. I've only ever bought 1 roll of each of these. Found it. But I don't have any spares, so if I lose them, I'm kind of stuffed. Obsidian Xenon, hello there. Angry Steve is very dangerous. I've actually got some crumpets. I was going to have crumpets for breakfast this morning, but I ran out of time. I love crumpets. Crumpet. There we go. So this is the thicker wire. This is the stuff I use when I'm repairing like those wider traces, which of course is what I'm doing at the moment. You will see, oopsie, right here. Nice big wide one there, so I'm going to put that in. And because this is quite thick, this is actually going to serve as a bit of support as well, because you will observe that I did stuff that pad. You know, we're not, you know, so no one's to blame. No one's to blame for breaking that pad. It was just bad luck is what it was. That's not true. It's my fault. But I accept responsibility for it, and I'm going to repair it. I have mentioned this in my live streams before, but I've got a video on repairing torn pads, repairing pads. And I do essentially what I'm doing here. And I've had people get all antsy with me in the comments that I'm not repairing them. You're not repairing the pad. You're putting a wire in place of it. That's not repairing the pad. You shouldn't call it repairing the pad when you're not repairing the pad. And technically they're right, but you know, what are you going to do? God, this wire smells when you're melting the, what do you call it? Stuff off. The enamel. It smells. It smells like hospital hallways. Don't ask me why, but it does. Howdy from Florida. The 2CI is one of my favourite machines. Stian O? I am with you there. It is one of my favourite machines as well. I am a huge fan of the old 2CI. I have nothing but good things to say about it. Boo, boo, boo. So that's going on to that. That's going on to that. That's there. That's fine. How's this look? Let's just get some multimeter action here. How are things in Florida at the moment? I'm guessing hot and humid. Good. Where's that going to? Can't see. Do 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 do. It's not even soldered down. It's not even soldered down. Hey. Yeah, where? There we go. This thing's in a bad state. I probably should take it off and solder it, clean it up, all that sort of junk. Best ever played was Pirates back in the day, or was it Amiga Pirates? I don't remember that one. Having said that, I'm not a big game person, so I'm not the best when it comes to knowing and remembering games. I have played games, and I have particular games that I've played a lot. I'm always a big fan of Civilization, Sid Meier's Civilization. Always a big fan of Doom. What else? StarCraft. I loved StarCraft. Warcraft, the early stuff, not the World of Warcraft, the old Warcraft where you build things and stuff. I love Myst games. Myst style games, so Myst and Riven and Myst 3 and stuff. Alright, let's check continuity there now. I still haven't done the cable management down here on my microscope. I will though. I will, I promise. Okay, we're good. We're good, we're good. This one I don't like the look of, I'll be honest, right here. Which you can't see me pointing, but anyhow, this one here, I don't like it. I don't. I mean, I think we've got a connection here, but I'm going to just put a wire anyway. Or maybe we don't. No. With stuff there as well. Prince of Persia. Yeah, see, Prince of Persia was a lot of fun. There was a stage in my life where I just played level after level after level of that. But I got... it's that lag that gets frustrating with that. You know how, like, when you press the key to make him move and it takes a couple of seconds or half a second before he actually moves. It gets very frustrating after a while. Dark Castle I've never played, despite all these people talking about it. I have never played it. Monkey Island. You got the pronunciation on the first try. Stian. Okay, Stian, cool. Norwegian name, that's where I'm from originally. Excellent, excellent. It's funny because there are so many different, like, for example, that like my wife is of Samoan heritage, and there are ways that they pronounce certain words, and I might look at something and I would pronounce it in a way that a Samoan would pronounce it, but you wouldn't pronounce it the same way in a different language. I mean, same as when you're, like if you're saying something in Spanish. and you pronounce the J's as a H sound, that sort of thing. You know, if you didn't know, and of course the thing is that in some European languages, the J is pronounced with a Y sound. So you look at someone like Danny Trejo. I mean, you know, if you were saying his name in, I don't know, Polish or something like that, it would be probably Trejo. But anyhow, that's enough about that. I'm no expert in linguistics, so I'll stop before I make a fool of myself. But, I've never really properly learned another language. I know enough French to get me arrested. There's lots of ugliness here, isn't there? Look at this. Look at it. Ugh. Ugh. Yeah, I would like to go. I've been to Tasmania. I've never been to Samoa, though. Is it hard to fix a computer? That's a very good question. It does depend a lot on the problem. I've had computers that have been insanely easy to fix. This was a classic one. I've got to tell you about this. I managed to score, this is years ago, but I managed to score an iMac for like $20. It might have even been free, I'm not sure. I can't remember which model it was, but this is a long time ago, so I don't know, maybe it was a 2012 or something like that. But I got this iMac, it's like, oh, it doesn't work, and the person said it's going to cost this amount to fix, so you can just have it. I mean, I think I might have picked it up on eBay maybe for dirt cheap. And all it was it only had one RAM SIM in it, and it was in the wrong slot. And it was even telling the person that. It was beeping when you switch it on. And it was giving the beep to tell you that the RAM's in the wrong slot. If you only have one in there, it goes into one slot. If you have two in there, you use both. But if you only got one in there, you had to use a specific RAM slot. And they had the RAM in the wrong slot. So I literally got this iMac, pulled the RAM out of the wrong slot, put it into the right slot, and boom, away she went. That was an easy computer to fix. And then you can have ones like the Macintosh SE30 that I've been working on lately, and that has been taking, well, I've probably spent 12 plus hours on it, I'd say, maybe more. It becomes a bit of fun, and it's the channel as well. I mean, I've got a YouTube channel, and I'm trying to do things that are going to provide, I guess, some entertainment. I know it's a kind of loose definition of the word entertainment, but you know, I'm trying to do things that people might actually want to watch, and so I will sometimes, you know, end up doing stuff like that. I'll actually go down the path of deliberately choosing something difficult to work on. For instance, I've got something behind me, which I'll be working on soon. I don't know if I'll live stream it, but I'll be working on it soon. And it is, apart from an IIci, but it is, just loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of trace repairs. I can't even live stream testing it because the main part of the computer is so big and bulky, I can't bring it down here. So I repair traces with no reward. There's no test at the end. See, this will have a test at the end. We will actually be able to connect some power to it and a speaker and see if it goes bing. You make the soldering look so easy. Well, thank you very much for saying so. I'm from Australia. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oi, oi, oi. That's our chant. We thought, what can we come up with that's really, really, really clever? So he said, Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. It's very difficult. It takes a lot of brain power. Still, they all do it. We all do it. At sporting events and stuff like that. Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. Aussie, oi. Okay, where are we going with this? There's an Australian show that I actually want to watch called Mystery in Between. Jay from the House of Moth discovered it and was telling me about it, and it's sort of set in Sydney, so I'm tempted to watch it. What's going on here? Why can't this go through? Why won't this go through? I'm going to try and find this on the other side. I hate that. I hate it. It's one of these three. I think probably the middle one. Un, dos, tres. Three thumbs up for Mystery in Between. Okay. I will have to give it a try. They're only 20-minute long episodes. I've been watching, we're waiting to sort of sink our teeth into something new. At the moment we're struggling to find a good series. We just finished watching The Last Kingdom. That was 5 series and a movie, and really enjoyed it. I mean, really enjoyed it. And we've been trying to find something new to watch, and so far I haven't really found anything that's grabbed us. And in the meantime, we've just been watching episodes of Schitt's Creek. And that has its moments. I mean, the first few episodes, I'm like, ugh, it was terrible. But we watched a couple of episodes last night and I had a good old chuckle. So, you know, maybe it's finding its footing. Maybe. Oh, I'm not even in camera. Sorry, people. Can drag on a bit. Yeah. I love the fact that it's Eugene Levy and his son Dan Levy. I think it's cool. It was like, this is a show created, you know, by father and son sort of thing. That's kind of fun. Right, so that's this one here. He was looking like poo, so we have just done a little trace repair there. I am Uhtred, son of Uhtred. Uhtred of Bibbenbear. Find yourself talking like Uhtred of Bibbenbear. Anyone who's seen it will know what I'm talking about. He kind of talks like sort of what is the word? I don't know, choppy like that. And I have to say that was a very, very good series, and I think that mainly comes from it being based on a series of books, and I think that it just had really well-developed storylines, so you just get totally sucked in. I mean, you'd literally just get to the end of the episode and go, "Oh, can we watch another one?" You know, that's just fantastic. Thoroughly enjoyed. So, you know, I mean, it's not for everyone. You know, it was sort of I guess a period piece to some extent. There are a lot of there's a lot of fiction in it, but there were true events in it as well. Yeah, just very, very entertaining stuff, I found. Really enjoyed it. So good, right? Yeah. Oh my god. I'm doing all this trace repair on this side, but of course I've got to do it all on the other side as well. I think I need a new scalpel. This one looks awful. Yeah, time for a new scalpel. Favorite Aussie TV show? Outback Truckers, yeah. No, it was definitely called Outback Truckers here as well. I mean, they probably did Americanise the title, but that was what it was called out here, Outback Truckers. And yeah, that's a fun show. Different, different slice of life, I suppose. Almost 12 noon. I know. Look at the time. Oh, sorry, Obsidian Xenon. I didn't see you say goodbye. I say goodbye. Goodbye to you. How are you going, Jay? Are you doing work in the garage at the moment? Bit of work in the garage? Getting things done? He's been working on his mower, I think, lately. Is that right, I think? We want Jay to do YouTube content of the stuff that he's doing, but at the moment he's not. But he will be. He assures me that later in the year he will start doing YouTube content again. Cleaning my office. Do you know how many times we get to hear Jay say he's cleaning his office? Now, I don't know if he is just never finishing it or if he's finishing it and then getting it messy again. But he spends a lot of time cleaning his office. Just embrace the mess, that's what I say. That's what I do. Actually, I hate mess, but nonetheless, that's what I've got a lot of at the moment. I need to try and remedy that. Do-do-do-do-do. So my fear is here that we've got problems with vias in the middle here. This one here, there's so much corrosion, the via might be stuffed. So I'm going to solder from the top and the bottom with a little bit of wire and hope that it makes connection. But we don't know. It may not. So I don't need long wires for this, but I'm just going to feed wires down each one of these little holes. Oopsie. Phasers. Here we are. 2005's Craftsman. For those mower aficionados out there. I'm also trying to get Jay back into 3D printing. But he's lost his fire. I'm very disappointed in him. I've told him, Jay, I'm very disappointed that you're not doing more 3D printy stuff. Because there was a time when we were doing so much 3D printy stuff, we actually created a separate chat group just for the 3D printy people, because the main chat, our main little group, because we have group chat, our main chat was just all 3D printy stuff. Them's are the days, eh? We even shared IP addresses of our 3D printer cameras so that we could watch what the other was printing. How about that? Do you have a 3D printer? I have two 3D printers, as a matter of fact. If you have a look on the featured videos of my channel, you will actually see a video of me reviewing one of the 3D printers that I got recently. It's one that I got from Creality, and it's called an Ender 5 S1. And I have incredibly good things to say about it. I was very impressed. It's got a couple of flaws, but they're relatively small flaws. On the whole, I found it a very, very good and very well-priced printer. There's a kind of a, what would you call it? A bit of a change happening in 3D printing at the moment, thanks to companies like Bamboo Labs. Now, Bamboo Labs have made this thing called an X1, I think it's called, something like that. And it is a 3D printer that you literally just take out of the box. You plug in and you start 3D printing. It does everything. You don't need to know anything about 3D printing. Now this comes, that's a double-edged sword. Excellent, excellent. Creality 6 SE user here. So Triple J, what I would say to you is, if you haven't yet, investigate Clipper. The Clipper firmware. I am a complete and total Clipper convert now. But yeah, so the Bamboo Labs is this 3D printer where you can literally just plug in and start printing. Now, a lot of good things about that, but there are bad things as well, in that they use their own proprietary firmware, so you're kind of locked in with them. The other is that they have built these things for speed, but there are some concerns about longevity. That some of the things they've ended up building here, they've made this stuff which is potentially going to have a high failure rate after a while, because they're printing so fast. They've sacrificed some strength for speed, and so, you know, time will tell. But there have been some reports of people that, you know, having to replace parts because they've worn out quite quickly because the printer is printing so fast. And then, of course, you also got the whole thing. There are a lot of people out there that like to tinker with their 3D printers. Okay, beginners don't, but someone who's a bit more of a long-term printer, you know, a more seasoned professional, they like to tinker with their 3D printers, and things like the Bamboo Labs make that quite kind of difficult because they've built them as such a closed sort of thing. So it's it's an interesting thing going on in the world of 3D printing. We'll see what happens. I have learned enough about 3D printing that I am still happy to have ones that need a little bit of tinkering to get perfect. Not too much tinkering. You don't want to be, you want to be printing. You don't want to be tinkering for the rest of your life. But I'm happy with ones that still need a little bit of tinkering. Or have the ability for you to tinker. So if you get one and you go, you know what, I don't particularly like this hot end, or I don't particularly like this extruder, I'm going to replace it with a different one. And I like that. I like being able to do that. I've actually got a new extruder, well, a direct drive extruder for my End 3V2, arriving in the mail probably on Monday. So looking forward to that. I'll probably do a video on it too. I had to declog the extruder several times and take the extruder and hot end apart. Oh, interesting. Just got a Bamboo X1. There you go. The first Bamboo X1 that I saw was the one that Kate from the Macintosh Librarian had. And we actually did a little video on 3D printing on one of my other channels, which is called Startup Disk is Full. Unfortunately, we haven't done an episode in a while, and that's basically Jay's fault. But we will bring that back. There's no doubt about that. We will be doing more episodes of Startup Disk is Full. So, you know, for you people who have been like, oh, that was the best show ever. Yeah, I know there's no one that actually said that. But we will pretend that someone said it's the best, like, YouTube live stream ever. We will be back with more episodes later in the year. We have had a few little complications that have stopped us from being able to make it videos, but it's still going to happen, yes indeed. Make a cupcake. You came in a box full of parts. You even had to build the hot end and extruders. Yeah. I was watching a video just recently about what 3D printing used to be like compared to how it is now. And yeah, I mean, it's come a long way. It's so funny when I see people, I'm part of a lot of 3D printer Facebook groups, and you see someone sort of just saying, oh, I just got my first 3D printer and I'm having all these problems and it's doing this and it's doing that, and you sort of think, well, I think the first thing you need to do is probably brush up on some of the basics, because there was some guy who was showing 3D printing, and he said, oh, I can't get the filament to stick to the bed, and he's like about 2 mils off the bed, and it's like, dude, you gotta be a lot flatter than that. You got to learn about getting the, the squish on the bed and all that sort of stuff, and I just thought to myself, you can't blame someone, I guess, for just getting a printer and plugging it in, expecting to go. But I would always recommend to anyone who's getting into 3D printing to do some research to start off with. There's lots of content out there, videos explaining how it works, why it works, all that sort of stuff. What you need to do. I really wanted to get a blob of solder onto this one here, just to hopefully help with that via. But there's just not enough. Oh God, I'm not pointing at it. This one here, there's just not enough copper on the outside, so I can't really do it. It's a bit of a poop. So one of the things that's happening with 3D printers now, which is not the case before, is that you can buy these fully enclosed ones that come in one piece. So you literally take them out of the box and you plug them in. And because they come pre-assembled, it means you've got a much better chance of them just working straight out of the box, them all being properly calibrated and set up and all that sort of stuff. So you basically might need to just level the bed and that might be it. You just start printing. I have to admit, this Ender 5S1, the very first print I did from that, basically they had a pre-sliced file on an SD card that came with it, and when I printed that, I was pretty blown away with the quality of a printer that I had done nothing to other than assemble and level the bed. That's all I'd done. So yeah, that's the thing. That's the bomb. Right, so now we've got to do all these from this side. Won't that be fun? Got to get it right. We will be able to test this at some stage. How long have I been going for? An hour and a half. That's not too bad. I generally aim for around about 2 hours for my live streams. I always feel that's a fairly reasonable amount of time. You reckon? I've done longer ones. Some of the ones I've done with the SE have ended up going for like 4 hours and whatnot. SE 30. Okey-dokey. Boop, boop, boop. Let's get a blob. I want a blob. Yeah, that's a big blob. That'll do. I've got to buy a 3D printer. I would recommend it. There are two different types of people using 3D printers. There are ones that basically just get the printer, set it up, and they grab STL files, which is the file format of 3D printing, and they get them from places like Thingiverse or any of those other places that just have large libraries of STL files. And then there are other people that actually go in and design their own stuff. And I have to say, if you have the time to go in and learn some 3D software, it is wonderful being able to do that. I'll give you an example of something. I have a Samsung monitor that I used to use down here. I used to sit it up here, and where I had it positioned, I didn't need the foot. So I took the foot of the monitor off, so it's just the screen, and I lost it, the foot. Well, it's in here somewhere. It's in here somewhere. It's in here. And I was just frustrated because I've got this screen that works, but I can't really use it because it's got no stand. So I just designed. It's got a Visa mount on the back. So I just designed a new stand for it with a little swivel thing, so you can spin it up and down. and a little foot for it and everything. And so I've made my own leg for it, which looks like it was bought one. And that's, you know, that's really rewarding stuff, because it's like, okay, now I can start using this monitor again. And mounting brackets things, I've got, like for instance this, I've got a Mac Mini here that I live stream from. That's got a little slide-in mounting bracket underneath this desk, so it's out of the way. Doesn't take up any space. So I am now using Apple Silicon to live stream from. On the whole, I consider myself pretty happy with Apple Silicon. There's no doubting the power versus electricity consumption. These things are very fast for very little power, and they're fine for me. I mean, I have heard a lot of people talk about, oh, you'll never get the same performance from a GPU like that compared to a great big, you know, PCI GPU. And I'm sure that is right, but I'm really not someone who does stuff that's terribly GPU intensive. So I've been very happy, all in all, with the two that I have. So I have a Mac Mini, a 2023 Mac Mini with an M2 Pro and 12 core in it, and I have this M1. So this is the first Apple Silicon sort of Mac that came out, I guess. This is the M1 Mini. Picked this up a little while ago, and yeah, it's been great. It's been great. Been impressed with my studio. Is the Mac Mini an M1 or an M2? Well, there are two. So the one that I'm using now is an M1. That's an older one. This is the right this moment. The one I have as my daily driver up in my office. That is an M2 Pro. And that is really fast. That's actually faster than Studio. But the Studio has advantage in it's got more GPU cores, and it has, I think, more expandability. Why do I even bother using the word expandability when it's Apple? There's no expandability, none. But the Studio has more I/O, I should say, and it's in a bigger case as well, which means it's probably cooling better. But what I would say is I have actually gone in and changed the fan behavior in my Mini, and I get it sort of cranks up the fans as soon as a temp gets to a particular temp. I don't want to end up with one getting fried by heat down the line. Probably unnecessary, but nevertheless. I don't care if I can't even hear the fans in my office. My 3D printers are so friggin' loud. Right, okay, so we are getting close to me testing this. I'm not going to say it's going to work, because there's probably still lots of stuff that I haven't found yet. But I am going to probably test soon, because I do feel like I have covered a lot of the problems I found. I went from a 2014 Mini to an M1. Whoa, big difference. Oh, goodness me, yes. Well, out here, I went from a 2012 Mini to an M1. And the difference was just phenomenal in terms of, doing this live streaming, in terms of the amount of CPU this uses. I mean, I'm currently using 50% CPU. What the hell is that? I've got a thing running here. I don't know what that is. I have to look that up, what that is. But anyhow, Ecamm Live is using like 50%. On the old one, it was using everything cranked up. Like it was like 400% sort of thing. It's just not an issue at all. It's effortless for this. Right, so this wire here needs to go to this. Now I might end up just, rather than attaching these two wires to a trace, I might just plonk them onto the end of that resistor. And then I'll just UV mask them later on. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, I did feel like I moved one of these when I was doing the other side. Oh no, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. We're good. Okay. Wire mess. Yes, it'll always come out good in the end. Always will. Always, maybe. Always, sometimes. This one. I should have just run one single wire up through out the other side. but I didn't. A new movie that's come out here in Australia. I don't know when it's coming to the US. I hope it is. I don't know if it will. New Zealand film called Red, White and Brass. And I have to say, it was a hoot. Lots of fun. So if you get an opportunity to see it, look, I mean, go see it at the cinema. I saw it at the cinema. But it's one that can probably wait until it comes out streaming or whatever. But lots of fun. Very entertaining. Lots of giggles and, you know, some nice emotion type stuff as well. Do. Studio is generally whisper quiet. The Mini 2 and Apple will probably drop OS support before the Minis cook themselves. Greg Brady, hello there. It is a lot of wires, but it's going to look it'll look much better very soon. I promise you. I promise you. I'm going through the trimming process at this stage. So I've done the other side. The other side's all nice and neat-ish. And now I'm just doing the other side, so this side here. So they're all wired up to the right place on the other side of the board. And then we're just going to make this look good. And then we will test it. And at that stage, what I'll say to everyone is, tell your friends. Ring them up, get them onto the YouTubes to watch it. He's about to test it. Where's this one go? Let's check. Let's get the old multimeter out. Kai Wheats KM601. Links in the description. Digital multimeter. Good value. Lots of multimeter, little price. That one there, I think. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. That makes life easy. Just run this wire up here like that. Big fan of Pixar movies. I was a big fan of Pixar movies until Disney. I don't know, it was sort of always, partial Disney. The really early Pixar stuff, I find these days, I don't know. Look, I'll be honest, I haven't watched a Pixar movie in a long time, so... they might still be going good. I think probably the last one I watched was Soul or something like that. It's about a black guy... dead or something like that. He was dead or something. And he wanted to come back or something. I can't remember. But, yeah, it was alright. Not really meaty enough for me. I like really meaty movies. I really don't do kids' movies much anymore. Soul was weird but good. That was that one, yeah. So that's probably the last Pixar movie I've seen. That was a Pixar, wasn't it? I don't want to tell fibs. Maybe it wasn't a Pixar. I enjoyed Up. That had its moments. I mean, once again, I'm not really into kids' movies that much anymore. I don't know why. Maybe I just expect swearing too much these days. Oh, that one's not good. He just came out. What's he going to look like on the other side? Right, so, look at that. Look how neat that is now. It's beautiful. It's pretty beautiful. Beautiful, mate. Beautiful. Okay. Right, might have been one of the ones that I haven't finished yet. So, ding. See, there's that guy there. It could have been that one. Everything still looks like it's good. Yeah, good. Yeah, good, thanks. Why a knife instead of tin snips? Well, the snip. Well, I can kind of give you an idea here. I'll show you. It's very easy to kind of lose scale when you're just looking at the microscope all the time. I'm going to get some snips and show you what they look like underneath the microscope. See, they're too bulky. I just find I get a lot more control with the scalpel blade. I always use a knife Pedro. Always. If you go back and watch any of my videos, you will see me using a knife always. I am a big fan of the knife. Now, I think that's around that way. Let's get a little bit of flux in here. Where is it? Here it is. I've been using this flux for a while because I think I've run out of the good stuff. Don't get me wrong, this stuff is still good. It's just not the stuff I prefer. Okay, down she goes, and done. Then we just need to bring this little guy in. He wants to be part of the party. There we go. Right, now, this is the one. This is the one that's only got one side. Only got one pad. Poor little fella. We're not going to go around assigning blame as to why that pad fell off. It's just, you know, we won't achieve anything by doing that. Bing. There we go. So this is why I've got a great big fat wire here, because this wire is thick enough for it to actually provide some strength and hold that thing in place. So just douse it with some solder. I'm doing this left-handed. I probably need to spin this board around. It's just this board's so cumbersome. See if I can do it left-handed. Well, or at least coming at it from a left-handed angle. Boop. So I'm melting off the enamel on this wire so that he is able to accept some solder, just like that. There we go. So he's on pretty solid now because that wire is pretty solid, so he's not going anywhere. Sorry. So I've only got one more to do now, and that's this little capacitor here. I'm going to get another one because I made that one brown, and I don't like putting brown ones back on. They still work, but I just don't like the look of them. Those yellow things go brown. What size is the wire? That's a good question. You will, if you have a look in the description of this video, and you look at tools used, you should find the 3 different wires that I use. This one unfortunately I think is in millimeters, not in AWG. So this is, I think, is 0.31 millimeters for the thick wire. The medium-sized wire, which I use for this one is 34 AWG, and then the thin wire, which I don't use on these sorts of Macs. I use them on modern computers. That's 40 AWG. But the thicker one, I can't remember what it is, but I'm pretty sure it's in the description. Do ultrasonic cleaners remove the enamel off your speaker wire trace repairs? No, they do not. Which is good. Because if they did that, that would be bad. I have been so happy with this ultrasonic cleaner that's behind me, and it's a shame because it means that I don't have room for my big homemade one. I would have that one here as well if I had space for it, but I don't. So I've had to kind of retire that one, I suppose. It's a terrible thing to say, isn't it? But this one here, this Vivor 30 litre, oh man, it has been good. Just so good to be able to get great big boards like this 2CI or a 2FX or a Mac 2 or a Quadra 950 or a 9500. Just fits those boards in Beautiful. Okay. Oh, a little bit blurry. Sorry about that, folks. Okay. So that's pretty much it. Oh no, hang on, I've got a wire. Where's? Oh no, he's just an offcut. That's fine. So look, I probably still have a few here that I might work on, maybe this one and this one. But I feel like what we've done here warrants a bit of a test, wouldn't you say? You guys have been sitting there. ANS. What's an ANS? Network server? Something network server? If it is, no, I haven't. Lunch and housework is calling. Have a great day all. Thank you, Triple J, for joining. I do appreciate that. Lunch is calling me too, so let's get this tested so I can go eat. Right. So just a quick reminder before I go in and start testing this. This board was battery damaged. Well, that's all what we've got going on down here. That's where the battery lived. And it leaked a little. Not a lot, but it leaked a little. Not a whole lot of damage around here. I've cleaned up a few things there, just look, give it a bit of a scrape, but everything seems to actually have continuity. We lost these little diodes down here. That won't stop it from starting up, so that's fine. And they're easy to replace, so I've got plenty of those I can put on there as soon as I'm ready to do that. However, what we did find is a huge amount of damage up here from these leaky capacitors. So there were originally capacitors here, surface mount electrolytic capacitors, and they have leaked fairly significantly and caused a lot of trace damage all around this area. So I've been busily repairing all those traces. Now, I cannot for certain say that I've repaired all of them. I probably haven't. We'll probably find more, but that's kind of what I'm doing. I've got this here that I may end up using later on as just part of testing. This is a little matrix showing all of the address, all the address lines. And we can check them either via this ROM sim or down here at these ROM chips, just to check and see that they're all going where they're meant to go. But the truth is, I generally don't go down the diagnostic path like this until I've fixed everything that I can see. And there's a lot to see on this board, lots of yuck. Now, I've got a lot of 1 megabyte RAM sims here, and I just have some concerns that some of them may not work. But anyhow, we'll try it without the RAM to start off with, because even without RAM, we should get, if the ROM's working and everything, we should get a SAD-MAC chime. So we'll plug in the speaker here. Hello, Mr. Speaker. Are you plugged in? Okay, plugged in. Got a little speaker. Need a power supply. Oh, old man noises, old man noises. There we go. Right, so this is just an ATX power supply that I've modified to work with this. And let's put that in there. I rated that connector from a dead 2SI power supply. Just make sure there's nothing metal underneath here, because you know you can always accidentally create a short. Don't want that. There's our power supply. And we'll see if we get any signs of life. Should I fire up the thermal camera? Because I love firing this thing up. Doing a review of this week. I love this thing. This is so good. Apple network server. Yes, no, I've never even come across one. I've never had one in my possession at all. So, num 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 num. All right, just waiting for this to fire up. This takes a little minute, and any second now, and any second now, and bing. There we go. Thermal camera. If I put my finger here, I'll make this warm underneath my finger. There we go. Left fingerprint. Okay. All right. There's probably some residual heat from the soldering work that I was doing around here. But all in all, this board is pretty darn cold. So nothing really to be seen there. Let's get some power. Got some here. All right. So I'm going to switch it on now. 3, 2. Oh, by the way, just setting expectations. I don't expect it to work. I still think there's more stuff I need to find on this to repair. But, you know, you've got to test every now and again. It's important to keep testing because otherwise you get to the end and you go, oh, I wonder which bit fixed it. You don't know. So, okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we got a pop from the speaker. You get a lot of, you can sort of tell a lot from the speaker. We've got, you can't see it because it's off camera here. It's just down there. We've got the power light on. So we know we're getting power through the board. My guess would be if I were to get one of those snooper new bus things, I'd be able to slot that in there and that would show me I'm getting all my voltage rails or my power rails, my 5-volt rail and 12-volt rail and whatnot. If I press the restart button, which is this one, yeah. If I press the restart button, I'll see if I can get the mic close. You can hear this. Hear the pop? So that tells me that the reset signal is working. Because it is actually resetting, but it's just not reading the ROMs. So we're not getting anything coming up through the ROMs. I can take this little jumper off here, and I can stick a ROM. Where is a ROM here? Oh no, I've got one here. So I just saw it. I just saw it a second ago. How does someone lose a ROM so fast? There we go. I can stick this ROM in here. And we can see if it makes any difference reading the ROM from the ROM slot. Am I backwards? No. Like that. And we'll see what happens now. Same problem. So I don't actually think the problem is with reading the ROMs or the address lines or anything like that. I suspect, I mean, we can test them, but I suspect the problem is still that we've got a busted trace somewhere and we've just got to keep hunting it down, trying to find it. And then when we get to the point where I feel like I've found all of them and repaired all of them, then I start getting into the nitty gritty. Have you got your tech step yet? No. No, I haven't. That has a lot to do with money. I'm trying to save money at the moment. Yeah. What are you going to do? Look, I am going to switch this on and leave it on for a bit because I want to sort of point out that I am going to guess that we will be getting heat in quite a lot of components here, which suggests that a lot of the board is good and there's power getting where we need it to get to and all that sort of stuff. But there is just sort of some fundamental stuff that's stopping it from kicking off. And it can literally be one trace, you know, it can be one trace and the whole thing doesn't work. So when I got my thermal camera here and I hover, that's the CPU there. We're definitely getting warmth there, so we know that's getting power. What do we got here? We've got these little thingies that's something to do with the RAM. Don't ask me what they are. Got our floating point unit there. He's getting a bit of heat. We've got these little guys here. That's the UH2 and the UH3. They're little chips that start with 7.4. Geez, there are a lot of chips that start with 7.4. These things are just getting reflections, and that's not it. That's our RBV chip. And yeah, so, you know, I can be fairly sure that if I were to connect a Blue SCSI or a SCSI to SD or a Zulu SCSI onto this thing, which I will do that now, I'm going to guess that we'll see the light come on because I think the termination power is on and everything. If it works, I'll be disappointed. We need 5 more parts. Yeah, look, this is going to be a multi-parter. There's no doubt about that. All right, yeah, I saw the little light come on there. If I switch this off and then on, yeah, see that light come on? And that basically shows us there's termination power coming through the SCSI port. But we're just, we're kind of not kicking off, you know. We're missing out on some fundamentals. And of course, I am very concerned about what's going on up here with regards to rotten vias. Because I've mentioned before that vias basically join layers in the board. And if you've got a rotten via all the way through, it can be not joining layers in between the board, you know, in between layers. and they can be very hard to diagnose, certainly without a decent schematic. I do have a schematic for the 2CI. It's a hand-drawn one. It ain't great, but you know. Are we sure this isn't normal behavior for this machine without RAM installed? What should a RAM-less 2CI normally do? See, you're going to make me put RAM in it, aren't you? All right, we'll do that. We will do that to satisfy Michael. Let's find some RAM. All right, let's see if we can find some that match. Mega. Australia. There's a fourth one of those somewhere, but I don't know where it is. Under stuff. Mega. All right, I will use these four. Two by two matching. Now, we have to have 4 slots populated. It will not work with only 2, or 1 for that matter. So we've got bank A and bank B. So let's start with bank A. I mean, typically with these computers, they all have fairly similar ROMs. The normal behavior when you have no RAM installed is they give you a sad Mac chime. And that's what I'm expecting. But got to keep Michael happy. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Oh, hang on. What have I done? It's going even worse than it was before now. I've done something. Oh no. There we go. Same. Why am I pressing the power button? It's going to do nothing. Charlie's here. Hello there. Sorry I'm late. Oh, inexcusable. I hate to tell you, I'm actually going to probably wrap it up fairly soon because I'm hungry. Hungry with a capital hung. All right, okay, so now what I did want to do just very quickly is I did want to just do a little bit of cleaning, because I have had computers where they haven't worked, and then I've cleaned some of the flux off, and then they have worked. So I sort of feel like I should. I've got some flux. Here we go. What's this one? That's ISO alcohol. That'll do. Oh, and here's flux. That's flux cleaner. Did it now. But I mean, anyone who's been watching this live stream since the beginning, or at least the last half an hour, will know that all this around this region looks pretty nasty. And I've actually got a good 2CI board. I'm tempted to actually grab that and start doing a little bit of multimeter-y, comparison-y stuff. Just to see how these things compare. I'm always playing the Thunderbirds theme in my head. It's just always going. Holy moly, I haven't even soldered in that RAM slot. I don't think that's going to make a difference. I think I would still get a sad Mac chime, but I think I should probably solder in the RAM slot. What do you reckon? I desoldered it in the previous live stream, and I clearly just never got around to resoldering it. So let's just do that now quickly, because I don't want to forget again. So we took the RAM slot off to look under it, and I think we found a little bit of badness, but nothing major. It was like, oh God, I can't believe I took that off. But yeah, we need to get this back on. Soldering iron only just heated up, you can sure tell. I completely destroyed the RAM slot getting it off. And I wish I'd just destroyed it right from the beginning. Because it was a lot easier to get off once I was committed to destroying it. I hate taking RAM slots off. I really mean it. I need to get a decent board preheater. It's a lot easier to remove them with a board preheater. The one that I have is made for 110 volts. I did a 240 volt conversion on it. And I didn't do a very good job. When I plug it in and switch it on, it uses like about 4,000 watts or something. So it's not good. It's not good. It gets hot though. I feel like that's soldering onto the pin. I think that's enough. Was video out connected? No, it was not. Oopsie. I don't even have my screen down here at the moment. Okay, so just cleaned a little bit of gunk off. Geez, you wouldn't know. Far out. There we go. Let's try this again. Okay, so all I've done here is just clean some of the excess flux off, in case there's any moisture in there, potentially creating a short, even though it is a no clean flux, you never know. Okay, got the worst of that off, and then we'll just check and see if it makes any difference. Once again, expecting no difference, but okie dokie. What's that thing called? It's that speaker. That's what I need. Speaker. And maybe a different camera angle. Whee. Okay. Righty. So I'm going to try this again. Again, not expecting anything. I'll wait for this thing to quieten down. It's too noisy. Shush. Shush. It stops when it gets to 100 degrees C. It's got a cooling cycle that it does so that, you know, like the element cools down. It's not sitting there super hot. There we go. Alrighty. Okay, I'm going to try it again. Expecting it not to work. 3, 2, 1. Yep, same thing. Just getting that pop. So the fact that we're getting a pop in the speaker means that the amplifier is probably okay. We're getting like the audio signal through, so that part of it's working, but it's just not starting up. So it's just not getting to stage one and, you know, getting data from the ROMs and all that sort of crap. And I think there's still a whole stack of, you know, crappy traces. I mean, I need to make my way around the board. We know that we had all the problems here with these leaky capacitors, but of course we've got capacitor here, we've got ones up here, here. No, that's not one of the the new ones. That's an original. And then of course we've got the battery leakage going on down here. Yeah. Oh well, I mean, you know, these ones often end up to be multi-part videos. There's not much you can really do about that. We did do a lot of repair today, a lot. There were lots and lots of busted traces. And yeah, I dare say we're going to find some more as well. Oh no, no, not the scope, not the scope. I don't want to get out the scope. I did last time, didn't really get far. You know, my general sort of way of working with these is that I do all the visible stuff first, you know, and when I did this last time, I did some work, you know, my last live stream, I did some work. Oh, geez, look at my sweaty armpits. Sorry, folks. I did this before. Sorry about the crackle on the microphone there. I sort of fixed a few problems, and then just as I was finishing, I moved up to this part of the board and saw a broken trace, or two, and I repaired those two broken traces, and then it still didn't work. And then I got to the end and I started looking at some more, and I'm like, oh my goodness, look how bad these look. And then, but I stopped the live stream. So this time I came in and I dealt with a lot of those problematic ones that I found, but there's going to be more. And I'll give you an example of what I mean, just very quickly. So if we just go into the scope view here, and we look at, let's say, we'll just say, just for argument's sake, I'll just point out this one here. May not be, you know, it's not necessarily the case, but I'll point this one out. So this guy here, right? You see we've got the little pin sticking off the chip there, and then we've got this trace coming out of it. A really, really common failing point, in particular if you've had some corrosion happening, is right there. So you've got this bit of copper here that's got some mask on it, and then you've got this area here where there's no mask and you've got a pad. And what often happens is there's a weak point just here where it's the thickness of the trace, but it's exposed. It doesn't have the mask on it. And, you know, we've got 1, 2, 3 of them on this chip here that were a problem. And there are probably many more. So, you know, again, look at this. Look at it. I'm going to zoom in on that. I'm going to have to move this down. Sorry, folks. Boom. If you look at how well focused is it there? If you look here, you know, I mean, that might be okay, but you could easily have some corrosion creeping in under there. I mean, I'll just test it with a multimeter because I've got one. Might be fine, but, you know, there could be half a dozen like this on this board. There could be a dozen, there could be 50 on this board that I just haven't found yet. So if I'll just do this, I'll just open up a little clear copper bit, just there. Yeah, we're good. We're good for that one. What about this one? Yep, good for that one. But so the point that I was trying to make with these is that, you know, you've got things that look like that, and then of course these are A lot of these have got traces coming on under the chip as well. It could be even worse than what we're looking at here. So I'm going to have to go through and start, you know, getting the multimeter and pinging a lot of these to see whether we've got some hidden corrosion. And then, of course, doing the same around other chips. And I mean, look here, I mean, this is our main CPU. And, you know, you worry about whether any of these pins are starting to come loose. You know, the corrosion has meant that they're not making proper contact. These actually don't look too bad, but and you've got that with plenty of other chips as well. So anyhow, my point is we've still got our work cut out for us with this one, but it is a 2CI, so we basically just say it's worth the effort. Guess I'll run 12 parsecs. I recapped the Macintosh Portable and changed the hybrid board, and it worked perfectly, except when you played a sound, it would crash the machine. Just don't play a sound, that's what I say. So you just say to the owner, so don't play sound, just stop it. Yeah, so, alrighty. Okay, so anyhow, I'm going to wrap things up now. I want to say a big thank you to everyone because we've been going, I think, for over 2 hours, about 2 hours and 15 minutes, something like that. A big thank you to everyone. I hope the audio has been good. As I said before, I had observed that since I went to my M1 Mac for live streaming, the volume had dropped in my live stream. So I've done something a little bit different with the audio now, and I'm hoping the volume is good now, nice and strong. I have a piece of equipment coming late next week, which is a sort of a proper live streaming mixing desk, which I'll be using to channel all my audio through, and I should get much better audio control when using that. It's a Yamaha brand. I've got good recommendations, so looking forward to that. 6 channels. I don't need 6, but it has 6 channels. And then of course I've got a couple more reviews to do. I've got some pre-recorded content that I'm working on at the moment. There's a few things in the pipeline. I'm doing a surface mount soldering beginner's guide. I am doing a couple little videos on some of the SCSI products that are around at the moment. I want to do a video on the Blue SCSI version 2 module. A lot of people have already done that. I want to do a video on the Zulu SCSI. So plenty of stuff in the pipeline, and as I say, a couple of review videos too. And audio's still quiet, a little better. Okay. What if I was to do this? Hang on. Where is it? Where's the thing? I need the thing. Here we are. Let me just have a look. I've got that on. Come on. All right, let me try this. Okay, so I've just punched the gain up there a bit. How is it now? Is it starting to get all muffled and too loud and stuff? And just let me know, because this is about as loud as I can get it with this current configuration. So, but I hope that's loud enough. And yes, just a reminder for people to please smash that like button. Thank you to everyone for joining me. Thank you for keeping me company while I work on this piece of shit. No, I work on this 2CI. We bring it back into life, hopefully, eventually. Too loud. Too loud. I've just been told it's too loud. Okay, going back to where I was. Better, but sounds bad. Yeah, I think what's happening is it's topping out. I think it's getting the gain's too high, and so it's topping out there. So we'll have to just stick with this level. I do apologise. But anyhow, next week, when I live stream next weekend, it should hopefully be better because I'll be using new equipment. Okay, so anyhow, thank you everyone. Thank you for watching. Appreciate you all watching. I think we got up to about 40 something there. We've got about 36 people watching now. I'm going to go and get myself some lunch now. Planning to live stream next week. Lots of stuff in the pipeline. Thank you for keeping the chat lively. Thanks. It was lots of fun. Enjoy hanging out with you guys. And I will hopefully see you at the next one. So have a good time. Bye. Beep. Beep.